Hello everybody, David Shuster here. A high-profile conservative senator is now breaking with the Trump administration on one of the biggest controversies of the Iran war. John Kennedy appeared on CNN and said the United States is likely to blame for the deaths of scores of school children killed during a missile strike.
We're investigating, but I'm not going to hide behind that. I think it was a terrible, terrible mistake. The investigation may prove me wrong. I hope so. The kids are still dead. But I think it was a horrible, horrible mistake. I don't see any other possible explanation. And when you make a mistake, you ought to admit it. Most people understand no one's perfect.
But Donald Trump and his team have made no such admission. The February 28th attack in the Taiba Girls' School in Manab, Iran, reportedly killed 175 people, most of them children. White House officials have repeatedly denied the United States was responsible.
Did the United States airstrike a girls' elementary school and kill 175 people?
Not that we know of, Sean, and the Department of War is investigating this matter.
No, in my opinion, based on what I've seen, that was done by Iran. We think it was done by Iran. Because they're very inaccurate, as you know, with their munitions. They have no accuracy whatsoever. It was done by Iran.
We're still investigating, and that's where I'll leave it today.
Whether it's Iran or somebody else, the fact that a Tomahawk is very generic. It's sold to other countries.
But the Tomahawk cruise missile, which reportedly struck the school, is not in the arsenal of Iran or Israel.
I wish it hadn't happened. I'm sorry it happened. Yeah, I can assure you it wasn't intentional. That's the sort of thing Russia does. We don't do that. But I don't think our men and women who are fighting for us did it intentionally. I'll never believe that.
While the strike may not have been intentional, the Trump team denials certainly seem intentional, and Trump's refusal to even entertain the possibility a U.S.-launched Tomahawk cruise missile struck the school prompted New York Times reporter Sean McCreish to confront President Trump to his face with this.
You just suggested that Iran somehow got its hands on a Tomahawk and bombed its own elementary school on the first day of the war. But you're the only person in your government saying this. Even your defense secretary wouldn't say that when he was asked, standing over your shoulder on your plane on Saturday. Why are you the only person saying this?
Because I just don't know enough about it. I think it's something that I was told is under investigation. But Tomahawks are used by others, as you know. Numerous other nations have Tomahawks. They buy them from us. But I will certainly, whatever the report shows, I'm willing to live with that report.
Trump is willing to live with whatever the report shows. Kudos to New York Times reporter Sean McCreish for showing other White House journalists how it's done. One imagines the next set of questions for Trump will be, why is the report taking so long? And how come Donald Trump has refused to offer any apologies or empathy for the families of the children killed? Senator Kennedy was able to express regret and sorrow.
I think it was a terrible, terrible mistake. I wish it hadn't happened. I'm sorry it happened. Yeah, I can assure you it wasn't intentional.
The bombing of the school stands as one of the deadliest incidents so far in the Iran war. The costliest, though, in terms of raw financial numbers, is still unfolding. 20% of the world's daily oil production usually passes through the Strait of Hormuz, but because of Iranian attacks, the narrow strait remains a no transport zone. And now the danger is getting worse.
CNN is learning Iran has begun laying mines in the Strait of Hormuz. This is according to two people familiar with the matter. It's another major complication as the world's top oil exporter warns there could be, quote, catastrophic consequences for oil markets if the conflict keeps disrupting ship and oil tanker traffic through the strait.
To try and stop Iran, President Trump has threatened to escalate the war with, quote, consequences never seen before. But according to multiple reports, Iran is not backing down from their efforts to mine the strait and make the passageway impossible to navigate.
What it shows clearly is how relatively, note I use that word, easy it is for Iran to cause absolute mayhem havoc and chaos with the global shipping. You see, they threaten of whether they actually lay the mines or not. We'll only have to wait and see. You've got the perspective of the drones and or missiles. You've got an entire choke point that you're looking at. And all that the West can do, or that President Trump and others can do, is offer these rather poor substitutes. Insurance, for escorting of vessels. I spoke to the CEO earlier of Maersk Shipping, the largest in the world, and he basically said, look, you can give me all the insurance you like, but if it's not safe, I ain't sending my ships, my container ships, through the strait. And he said, and as for escorting, it's just too difficult.
And the difficulties, even according to Trump-supporting lawmakers, are getting worse. And gas prices here at home are skyrocketing.
It's going to take a while for us to get control over the Strait of Hormuz. The most important thing we can do right now, and our job right now, is we'd love to get gas prices back down. But the most important thing is destroy Iran's ability to, produce a nuclear weapon, destroy their military, their ballistic missile capability, and hopefully, right, we end up with a country that wants to work with the world community and not be constantly destroying through all their proxies.
In the meantime, the war is grinding on. U.S. military officials say they just hit Iran the hardest of any 24-hour period since the conflict began. U.S. forces are also stepping up strikes on Iranian boats and ships that could be involved in efforts to mine the Strait of Hormuz. The Trump administration has never been known for restraint or even precision. And so in addition to global financial fears, there are growing concerns that many more innocent people are going to be killed. The U.S. military often refers to dead civilians as collateral damage. But even Trump Senate supporters acknowledge that such dismissiveness, especially regarding children who are killed, is horrifying. And so, more MAGA lawmakers, including Senator Kennedy, are speaking out, apologizing for the mistakes that are getting civilians killed, and pleading with Donald Trump to also show some contrition and decency. Trump, however, may be incapable of that, which means diplomatic efforts to try and end the war are going to be even more challenging, as the war's cost in blood and treasure keeps piling up. By the way, here at home, conservative news anchors have been stunned by the latest U.S. jobs reports.
Non-farm payrolls, minus 92,000, minus 92,000. That is a biggie.
As you can see the market reacting, we are also seeing the unemployment rate tick up to 4.4%. A loss of factory jobs of 12,000, government jobs, a loss of 6,000, private sector jobs, a loss of 86,000.
Check out that video at the link below. It generated a lot of comments on YouTube. One of the most popular is from Count, who wrote, "These numbers are what we are allowed to see. Imagine how much worse the actual numbers are." Indeed. I look forward to reading your comments about Trump supporting senators now speaking out and saying the United States is likely to blame for an attack that killed scores of Iranian schoolgirls. I'm David Shuster. Thanks for joining us.